be with you.
What happened here?
Well, Chrysler, back in the days when it was still Chrysler and going into the merger with Fiat, apparently has been a little bit lax and loose with safety. And the feds got tired of that. You may recall just about a month ago they had an unprecedented hearing to discuss how they handled 23 separate recalls. They were nailed, and they were nailed hard. And NHTSA has now come up with these fines. That includes about $20 million in basically sort of a reach-out and education program. And there's $15 million in there that they could get back if they do handle recalls better going forward. But it is still a record sum, and it really gets the message across. The good news is when I met with Mark Roskin, the head of NHTSA, last week, a week ago today, in fact, he did say that they seem to be taking a different attitude. There's been changes. For example, their top safety person reports directly to Sergio Marchione now, and they're hoping that things will change going forward.
Is this a case of knowing the problem and doing nothing about it? I mean, General Motors dealing with a similar situation, right?
Yeah, it is very much a case of a company that seemed to have put safety a little bit too low on its priority list. Now, one could argue they were distracted during the bankruptcy and so on, but there really are a number of cases here where it just seems like they weren't really caring very much about the safety issue.
Wow. Which vehicles were unsafe?
Well, there's a lot of different ones. One of the ones that probably got the most attention were those Jeeps that were recalled because of a fire risk. Fiat Chrysler still argues that those vehicles were not unsafe, but whatever the case was, they agreed to recall over $1.5 million 2 years ago, and yet so far they've only fixed about 21%. Now, not everybody gets recalls repaired. You know, we've talked about that in shows previously. But 21% is ridiculously low, and it does suggest that the company's just really not doing very much to reach out to owners to say, bring them in, we need to fix them.
When they talk about buying back the vehicles, does that mean if you own one, you just simply turn it in and walk away from it? Do you get money for it? How does that work?
I hate to say it, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to be handled right now. That's one of the things I hope to get a little bit of a clearer answer today. It appears in some cases they will be buying them back. I don't know if it's at current market value for the pickups that they're going to buy back, or how they're going to do that. And on some vehicles, they're going to be offering bonuses. So let's say it was... well, we'll just invent a name. Let's say it's a Jeep Cherokee, that they have a buyback or a discount program. You might get an extra couple $1,000s to go in and trade it in on a new vehicle from Fiat Chrysler.
That's unusual, isn't it?
It's happened before, but it's rare.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that explanation this morning. $100 million. TheDetroitBureau.com is where you can... What are you going to drive today?
Today I'm driving a Mercedes SLK.
Well, good for you. That'll be a nice, safe ride for sure, won't it?
It'll be reasonably good. It's a little bit too hot to put the top down unless I drive it tonight.
Yeah, that's a trick of it. And you don't want to be dorky with the windows up and the air conditioning on. That wouldn't make sense. You've seen people do that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hate to say it. I do that occasionally in the wintertime. You still put the top down, but you want a little bit of heat.
Well, the heat is on Chrysler, that's for sure, thanks to the NTSB. TheDetroitBureau.com, Paul Eisenstein. At 12 minutes after the hour, it's Michael Patrick Shiels, radio stations all across the state of Michigan.